I call the Cass County Board of Commission meeting to order. Welcome all of you here. The first John me in a moment of silent prayer, follow the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Amen.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda, the public comments, Ms.
You want me to read the paragraph? No one signed up to speak. No one has signed up to speak.
Anyone in the public would like to speak? Public comments closed. And the recognition start down with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things I'd like to hit on. As many of you may be aware, there may be some that don't. We had an accidental drowning last week at Farmer Lake. I just wanted to say on behalf of myself and I guess the board, I just want to thank the ones that were involved for their professionalism during that tragic event. I'd like to thank our Deputy County Manager, Melissa Williamson, Farmer Lake Warden Charlie King, Caswell County Fire Marshal Vernon Massengill, members of the Alamance County Rescue Unit, members of the Caswell County Sheriff's Office, the North Carolina Wildlife Enforcement Division, Caswell County Emergency Service Personnel, Caswell County Special Operations Team, and our Caswell County Solid Waste. I just want to thank all of those involved for everything they did over that day, and thank them. No further.
I'd like to acknowledge and recognize Ms. Renee Pascal, our new interim county manager. Welcome her here.
Thank you.
I would like to ask that all the citizens in the county would remember the flood victims, and they need our thoughts and prayers and donations and support. I think there is one group from Caswell that are taking up supplies currently at Providence Baptist Church. They'll be there tomorrow, but if you look online, you can look on the Caswell Business Broadcast Network. They've got the collection times listed.
Ms. Gwen?
No comment.
Okay. Recognition is closed. I need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion made by Rick, who second? Second by Ms. Gwen. All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried unanimous. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda on September 16th and 23rd. Motion made by Rick and second by Tim. All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried unanimous. Next item, proclamation. Honor Jeremiah Jeffers, Ms. Pastor.
The Voters League is requesting approval of the proclamation that was in your packet honoring Chairman Jeffries for his many years of service as a county commissioner. And this is on the occasion of his retirement from the board. Would you like me to read the proclamation?
Well, if you will, go ahead.
Give me 1 second. Whereas for 32 years, Jeremiah Jeffries has been a dedicated servant to the citizens of Caswell County as a county commissioner. And whereas Jeremiah served with honor, integrity, commitment, and respect. And whereas the important work of Jeremiah and the county commissioners cannot be quantified in the economic benefit to the county or in the compassion experienced by so many served. but can only be measured by the tremendous gratitude we have for Jeremiah's exceptional and selfless service. Jeremiah Jeffries truly exemplifies the noble endeavor to leave a better place than when found, and in doing so inspires all of us to do the same. And whereas residents of Caswell County appreciate the improvements made over the years, such as building the new NL Dillard Middle School and Bartlett Yancey High School, road improvements such as Dahl Branch Road, and the role he played in bringing broadband to the county. We would like to recognize Jeremiah for his legacy and for the imprint he leaves upon our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Caswell County Board of Commissioners do hereby acknowledge and extend their appreciation to Jeremiah Jeffries and his service to our community. Adopted on the 7th day of October, 2024.
Thank you. Motion made by Rick, second by Tim. You heard the motion, the question. All in favor, stand aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carried unanimous. Next on the agenda will be a request from Commissioner Hope to consider the limitation of the Economic Development Direct position and assignment of these duties to the county manager in order to increase the pay range for the future permanent county manager. That's on the table here, and we can discuss.
I know we've discussed this and I don't know where exactly we stand with everybody, but
Kind of talking, I think, so they can hear you.
I'm sorry. I know talking with Ms. Cannon, we all did, that most of the counties of our size do not have a full-time economic director. And we had talked about the fact that we would like to take that money, put it to the county manager position so we could try to get a higher grade county manager. And I'd like to do that.
Are you making a motion to doing that?
I'd like to make that motion.
Is it second? Motion been moved and proper second. I'll make a motion to this request that Vice Chair may have made. Y'all heard the motion, any question?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
while I don't have a problem with Mr. Holt's idea of maybe doing away with a full-time economic developer and using part of that salary to go towards a new county manager whenever that time gets here, I would like to hold off until we started the process of looking for a county manager. Is my only thing. And I don't know when that'll be, but in my mind, we kind of might be putting the cart before the horse. Steve.
What else? Okay.
I think it would be a mercy that the new board handle this. Table this motion, three of us coming off of this board. Do better if we let the new board handle.
Any more questions?
I think giving some certainty to the process and being able to know that we have the money to roll into the new position. We've got the current economic developer is running for a position on this board. He's an odds-on favorite to win. All we're doing is putting a plan into place to assure us the ability to be able to pay a county manager of the caliber this county is looking for. So there shouldn't be any kind of direction trying to refill that position if this board is going in that direction. Don't need to bring a new person in and then wind up having to cut that position once they have gotten accustomed to it. So I don't think waiting is the proper thing to do. I think it needs to be acted upon now.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I'm kind of like Mr. Yarber. I have no problem in discussing it. I think right now we're early on in this process. As you see, what we're trying to hopefully get cleaned up here in the next several months with the audit situation. I don't want to get back into that issue again. If you've got a county manager taking on a dual role, well, something's going to give one way or the other. And I don't want to get back into the financial issues for some reason falling by the wayside. I have no problem in considering it, talking about it, but as of right now, I think, you know, we just got Ms. Pascal here. She's been here a week. I think we're still early on in this process. And I just feel like we just need to wait a little while. Thank you.
Oh, we have a motion on the floor, so I'm gonna
Mr.
call for it.
Mr. Jeffries, I have another comment. It may be better to wait and make this vote after the closed session because some things that may come out in the closed session that would sway this board as to which way they want to vote on this. And it's not something that can be talked about in an open meeting because it's a personnel matter, but it has a direct reflection on what we're proposing here.
I'm not sure. You want
Is
to
there,
wait till we go?
is
to
there a
closed
way that we can put this vote off to after we come out of
before we
closed
vote-
session
Before
tonight?
we vote on this?
Yes.
To come back to open session? Can we do that, Mr. Chair?
We don't have a closed session for personnel on the agenda.
Commissioner Jeffers, as Ms. Pascal reminded me, do not have personnel issues on the closed session tonight.
So we can table this though until next meeting?
So we have some personnel issues to talk about. If you're the one that was on here is not going to be talked about, there's another one. So I think we need to continue on with that closed session.
So the board needs to make when you go into closed session, you need to add personnel to the motion.
So what do I need to make as my motion? Help me out here.
When you go into when you make the motion to go into closed session, there are two other matters. Add personnel if you wish to discuss it.
Okay. So with that said, are we okay to wait until after the closed session to vote on the issue?
It's up to the board.
I'm just speaking from a technical standpoint, if that's what we want to do. We okay to do that?
That's correct, Commissioner Dickerson. It's in the board's discretion.
I propose we wait till after the closed session to take a vote on Mr. Holt's.
Yeah. We'll move on then to the next thing. County manager update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did send an email last week encapsulating a lot of this. I'm sorry if I'm redundant, but I want to make sure everybody has gotten the information. First is the accessory dwelling unit ordinance. I think our county attorney indicated during the discussion on this at the last meeting that the state law has not passed that governs accessory dwelling units. Therefore, we would recommend waiting until the policy or until the law has been passed before finalizing our regulations, because we may have to revise what we do if we don't wait. So that was our recommendation. I wanted to let you know why that was not on the agenda. I sent information about the ABC request to retain funds for capital improvements. He sent a lot of information. If you have additional questions, please let me know and I'll have him ready to answer those at our October 21st meeting. The finance director reclassification, I spent a good deal of the afternoon looking at this position, gathering some information. And so we will bring that back hopefully at the 21st, on the 21st. Our emergency management department is also spearheading an effort to collect supplies for hurricane victims. A copy of the flyer was in your packet or in your email that I sent out. I also want to just give a shout out to both our emergency management director, who's been in the western part of the state over a week now and has been sent back for a second deployment, and our solid waste director, AJ Fuqua, who was also, he's previously in emergency management, so he's been trained and he was deployed by the state as well. So we are doing what we can to help our neighbors in this dire situation. I do want to point out, we are trying a new agenda process to make sure that the items that come before you have all of the detail and information that you need to make a good decision. We are moving the deadline for the agenda back to the Friday, 10 days before the meeting. The manager, attorney, clerk, and department heads that have agenda items will meet Monday morning, a week before the meeting, go through the agenda, see what needs to be addressed, what might need to be postponed, and that kind of thing. So we hope that moving forward, we will have complete information when we get to the meeting. The Arts Council mural that you considered at the last meeting has been unanimously approved by the town of Yanceyville. As we understand the motion, then that can move forward. And then finally, I just want to say, I'm going to send you a weekly email with updates. You can expect that either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm working mostly Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I just want you to know what my schedule is, and I will include that in the email. This week, I will actually be out of the state starting early Thursday morning. My niece has a wedding in Houston, so I will make Melissa Williamson acting county manager while I'm away. And that way, if any issues come up that require county manager approval, she and I can discuss by phone, and she can carry that action out. Just a couple more things. There's a free drive-through flu shot clinic on October 8th, which is tomorrow, from 1 to 6 at Caswell County Parks and Recreation. And on Friday, October 11th, NC Med Assistance will hold a mobile free pharmacy program that gives away free over-the-counter medication, also at Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
Ever have any questions for Ms.?
Yes,
Huh?
I have one. Is there anything else that the county can do for the victims of the flood in the western part of the state? Anything that we have within our power we can do to help them out?
So deploying personnel is probably the biggest thing, for which we are reimbursed by state emergency management. I've reached out to colleagues in that area to see if there's anything that we can assist with, other than, donating money personally and supplies. I don't really know how else we can be helpful at this time. In fact, I heard the Buncombe County manager say, please don't come into Buncombe County unless you're here on official business, just because things are so chaotic.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. County Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, following up on the county manager's comments about the Arts Council mural, at the last meeting, there was a question as to the ownership of the Co-Square here at the Court Square, as to the ownership. And back on September 20th of 2018, Caswell County purchased the property. But in speaking with the town manager of Yanceyville, she did indicate that when the construction was being processed on Co-Square and the building was being retrofitted, that the town of Yanceyville did contribute $30,000 to the construction. But they did appreciate the Board of Commissioners giving them consideration and input as to the mural. The next item is the question as to ownership.
On the town, for the town, I remember the town when we used that too, Rick, when we was purchasing this property. The town was supposed to pay half, was going to go 50-50, but I never knew they was gonna pay $30,000. Never heard talk about they paid the $30,000. This the first time I heard that they paid the $30,000.
That's my understanding, Commissioner Jeffries, and that was based upon a conversation I had with the town manager. But I'll be glad to try to gather additional documentation if you would. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the next item involves the ownership of the ABC store building located here in Yanceyville at the intersection of Old 86 and New 86. And that property was purchased by the Caswell County Board of Alcoholic Beverage Control back in 2007. So that building and property is not owned by the county, it's an entity. And next, I wanted to update the board on the Caswell County delinquent tax foreclosure process. We currently have 110 parcels that have been turned over to our office from the Caswell County Tax Office. 81 of these parcels have either been paid in full or are currently in a payment plan. The remaining parcels either have had a lawsuit drafted or the lawsuit has already been drafted and we're waiting for a sale, or we're in the process of completing the title examinations. And we do have 3 parcels that'll be scheduled for sale on October 25th. And I have a spreadsheet for the commissioners, Mr. Chairman, if I could approach and hand it out to each member. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my updates, and I'll have further updates in our closure tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the attorney?
Yes, I do have a few. Let me give me a second. I'm kind of looking through this list. I've got a printout came online where you have Michael and Cindy Willis and co-owner of George Daniel on a multiple spectrum of property. Well, it's 2 properties, multiple spectrum of years where the taxes have not been paid. And I'd like for an update on that. Do you have the information on the parcels I'm talking about? Got the printouts here.
Do you have the map and parcel number, Commissioner Dickerson?
Well, depends on what year you're asking for. This goes all the way back to 2015 on one of them and the year 2000 on the other.
Give me one moment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
This is gonna be the next question here. That's the other parcel number there.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Dickerson, I do not have those properties listed on my spreadsheet, but I'll be glad to contact the tax office so we can get an update.
While you're at it, can you shed some light on a lawsuit that was filed by the Daniel firm, Thomas, being the lawyer that has filed it against him for delinquent taxes he has not paid? And I want to get the details on this because help me out here. I'm having a hard time understanding. I mean, I'm a layman, I'm not a lawyer, so kind of walk me through this. This appears to be that the man's law firm is suing him for delinquent taxes. So if that's the case, if Mr. Daniel's law firm is suing Mr. Daniel for not paying taxes for the last 15, 20 years by this, then he controls both the speed at which it will go through the system because in effect, he's the defendant and the prosecutor of the case. So this could drag out forever and the statute of limitations just run out and the years he owes all these taxes won't keep dropping off. I'd like to see what we can do like this and make sure that this doesn't fall between the cracks. Because I want to remind everyone on this board that Mr. Daniels was the man responsible for collecting delinquent taxes. And by my total here, he owes over $24,000 to his county on taxes he has not paid on properties yet. Could you please give me the information on that where we could make some kind of rational decision about this?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Dickerson. I'll be glad to.
I'll be glad to give you any of these papers that you want to be able to find this stuff.
Yes, sir.
Also, in the records, it's got 2023. Were any of these properties turned over to you for the collections after that time? When we took the contract and changed the law firms doing it, anything after the date in which the contracts were changed, all delinquent taxes collection processes should have been done by the current county. And I'm not seeing that that's the case because it's still listed under Mr. Daniels' collection of his own taxes. It seems to me that a real simple solution to this is if it's taken away from his law firm and given to the one that's currently collecting the taxes, then we take out that duality of lawsuit being filed by the same person being sued. And you're really going to have to explain that one to me because my next question to you is, can we get in touch with the state to have an ethics probe of whether or not it is even legal for a man that's responsible for collecting delinquent taxes in this county to have his own law firm sue him in collection of said taxes?
Commissioner Dickerson, before I give this board an answer, I should probably perform some due diligence and consult with the county manager, and that may be a matter better reserved for a closed session. But I'll be glad to conduct the research and perform our due diligence.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. I'd like to see it. Any of this information you want, let me know. I don't want you to think I'm just pulling this out of the air. This is all printed off the internet. It's public information. Anything that anyone else didn't find.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions for any other commission? Okay, we'll move on down to commission comments. Start down here, Ms. Gwen. Ms. Gwen, you got any comments?
Yes, I think this is the proper time, or should I do it later?
I think this is a good time.
I wanted to report that PTRC is active and they received $2 million to help with renovation of houses here in Caswell and Alamance County. And it's a good amount of money that's between the two counties that we haven't used. There were 2 people referred and they were denied. They met the requirements except they had adult children to move in with them. And they did not do, it was just for the elderly and not for adult children, a child there working or adult children and grandchildren and all of that. So they were turned down. So if you know anyone, they really focus on well, in one situation, they were focusing on the whole house needed some renovation, including water, electricity, everything. And they were unable to do it because she had moved, her daughter had moved in with her baby. And it was for the elderly, basically, and they were not eligible. And the other person had moved in, her daughter and 3 or 4 children, I'm not sure, so they were both denied. So if you have someone that might be interested, please let me know and I will contact, I believe his name is Michael Blair or either Adrian Calhoun, and they will follow up with it. But we did not use it in the last year at all. And they have gotten another grant for the 2 counties valued at $2 million.
Is that finished?
That's it.
Ms. Dixon? Everything else? Oh. Rick?
Yes, sir, I do have one. I had a constituent come to me this past week and questions and things that were going on down at the library. Supposedly, there was quite a bit of a scuffle down at the library, with some of the young people down there. And one of the young people finally had to get the library papers to call the sheriff department. But also, I have been told that there was a gun involved and that nobody has done anything about it to this point that I know. Constituent has not called me back. It's a little rough being able to send your children to the library, scuffle going on in a gun business. So I would like maybe the county manager to, Mr. Johnson, to check into this and see what needs to be done about this type of thing.
We've had some discussion on this incident. So first of all, the library has a policy about behavior and they will start enforcing that policy. We do have a deputy stationed at the library after school from school time to 6 o'clock. On that particular day, they moved the deputy to Bartlett Yancey for the football game, and that's why there wasn't a deputy at the school. The sheriff, as I understand it, and I'll be glad to provide more detail about this once I have had another chance to talk with the sheriff has made some arrests, I believe, as a result of this fight.
Thank you, appreciate you.
Ms. Rose?
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then we'll move on with the agenda. Next on the agenda will be announcement of the upcoming event, October 21st, 2024. The Board of Commission meet at 6:30 p.m. at the historic courthouse. On the agenda, I need a motion to go into closed section.
So move.
Motion made by Ms. Gwen, second by,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
if I may, I think there was a comment earlier that Commissioner Dickerson wanted to add personnel issues onto the closed session.
Okay,
Yes, as part of that motion, I would like to add that we have a personnel issue spoken about in closed session.
okay, we'll add that to this in closed section. We'll go on down to it. Motion made and second, give me all in favor saying aye. All opposed? Carried unanimously. It's now set in closed section. Take a 5 minutes break, though.